So dating has changed a lot since I was on the market, at least. And I've been researching some new terms that people use these days, and I want to run them by you.
Great.
And see if you know what they mean.
Dating dictionary.
Yes. Ghosting. What is it?
It's rude. And it's basically when people disappear on you with no explanation or reason.
Yeah, they go dark. Riz, or having Riz.
Zero idea.
That is shorthand for charisma.
Oh.
Who knew?
All right, I like it.
Breadcrumbing.
This is where they basically string you along.
So they leave little likes,
They
texts,
show you
like breadcrumbs.
sporadic attention to keep you interested, but nothing enough to really be meaningful.
Situationship.
This is very Gen Z. Lots of situationships that I hear about.
So that's when you're not dating, but not dating.
It's a situation, and because of that, it feels like a relationship, and so it's a situationship.
Soft launching.
Taking it slow.
When you post on social media indicating that you're in a relationship, but you don't reveal the person's identity.
Ooh,
That's a soft launch.
fascinating.
That was our soft launch for the interview, and now we're really gonna dig in.
These days, modern love begins and ends on an app. And there are a lot of options, showcasing millions of potential mates, all with their own unique spin on why they're the one for you. But just how many swipes does it take? I'm meeting Bumble CEO and founder Whitney Wolfe Herd at her home in Santa Barbara, who has stories to tell about the ups and downs of online dating and where she thinks it's going next.
So you've gone from startup to unicorn to being the youngest woman to take a company public. And I've heard you say you were really motivated by the fact that a lot of people didn't think you could do this.
I think even today I'm underestimated. And I think even today Bumble is underestimated in terms of what we can be and what we can do in the world.
Why?
You know, if you look at what is going on in our world today with all-time high searches around how do I meet people, all-time high self-isolation, all-time high sadness because of our phones, we are one of the very rare technology businesses that actually wants to help you get into the real world and meet people and build healthy relationships. And I'm not entirely sure people realize just how big that can be.
When you started Bumble, you wanted a safe place for women to make the first move. What was the genesis of that decision?
The beginning of Bumble was really the intersection of a few problems. And that's who I am. I like to identify a problem and then fix it. Everywhere I looked, someone was in a heartbreaking situation or situationship. But it was really more than just lighthearted situationship talk. This was really quite toxic stuff. Abusive relationships, degrading relationships, relationships where women really felt like second-rate citizens. And
So you went through your own bad breakup or
My
own
own-
bad relationship.
my own several experiences of the dynamics of inequity in relationships. So that was the first thing. But then it also boiled down to a more lighthearted version of that, which was, why was I not allowed to text a guy first in college? Why was that seen as a cardinal sin by my group of girlfriends? Because of these rules of love. You know, look at how women have evolved over centuries in love. Captured, dowry, exchange for property. You had this history of love, and then the explosion of modern love and mobile love. And the internet was quite literally engineered with men in mind. I'm not bashing them, I'm just saying what it is. There was a lot of men that were solving problems that they experienced through engineering.
Hot or not, face smash, just those kind of things.
These girls. Right or left? Left is left. Yeah. Right or left?
It's my roommate.
And that is how we ended up connecting and dating on the internet. And so when I found myself at the front line of that, I was seeing the intersection of broken love, women being forgotten in love, with the explosion of toxicity and harassment on the phone.
Now, you also co-founded Tinder, and as I understand it, you came up with the name, and you also helped spark its run on college campuses.
We were starting Tinder really as a side project inside of a tech incubator, which felt very foreign at the time. I remember being teased by my girlfriends graduating college for going to work at a tech incubator. They thought that was pretty nerdy. When they were all taking jobs at fashion houses and magazines and banks. But it felt modern and it felt like the future. I went to SMU, where I'd graduated from, with just a couple $100s for marketing and the logos of Tinder and a couple Tinder t-shirts that said, "Don't ask for my number, find me on Tinder." And that was kind of a part of the beginning of the wildfire, if you will, of that product.
You ultimately left Tinder and you sued Tinder for harassment and discrimination. You signed an NDA, you settled. I know you can't talk about the specifics, but how did that experience change you?
I would say it didn't change me, it broke me. It did, it broke me. I was a 24-year-old woman, and I had been working so passionately and with so much dedication and so much conviction in what we were doing. This is before Time's Up. This is before the tech conversation about how women are treated. So I felt incredibly alone and scared and abandoned. But in those dark, very harrowing moments, I was able to be still enough to identify something bigger than me, which was that the internet was broken and the way we were treating women in relationships was wrong, and that something had to change.
The swiping right, swiping left thing has given online dating a bad name. How hard was it to then start Bumble with that as a perception point?
Trust me, the last thing I wanted to do was go get back into the dating app world.
So you didn't even intend to start another dating app?
Absolutely not. I was actually wireframing an app based on kindness, better behavior, and compliments. The founder of Badoo had contacted me during the lawsuit, and I was taking no emails and calls. I was in a really bad emotional place, and he was persistent. He said, "Okay, I'll make you a deal. Instead of raising from someone else, I will back you. I will contribute resources and experience from my Badoo team. You are founder, you are CEO, this is your project." And after a lot of back and forth, I kind of felt, what do I have to lose? I can't be more untouchable than I can be right now.
How would you describe your CEO style?
The style I've always had is just lead with authenticity. I try to be kind. That's not nice. Nice is fake. Kind is honest. Kind is respectful, but truthful. And kind is not always what you want to hear. Nice is. But nice is not serving anyone.
Has that been hard to do, especially as a woman CEO who's constantly critiqued and judged in maybe ways that male CEOs are not?
I come back to that time post-Tinder, where I was being judged, scrutinized. I was called every name in the book. Every name. Publicly, privately. I was shunned. And in that moment came freedom. Because I realized this thing we all fear, people not liking us, people judging us, people not approving of us. I was right there in the middle of it. I lived it. And I said, wait a second, okay, I'm still breathing. I got through it. So now let's just go.
The landscape has changed dramatically. There's Tinder, there's Hinge, there's Match.com, there's Raya, and Plenty of Fish, and The League, and many more that I don't even know about. How does the battle of dating apps play out?
We're really building something that no one's built before. We're building an entire relationship business. We are in the business of love more broadly.
You're building a place where people can also make friends, find business partners as well.
When starting Bumble, even in dating app form, I have all the early drawings and paperwork. This is not a dating app. This is a relationship company. This is a company to build community, to find business opportunity, to find friends, to find someone to lean on. It's about, empowerment. Be the CEO your parents wanted you to marry, and then find someone you actually like. It is so much more than just an app you download and swipe, swipe, swipe.
So you've spun off BFF. What's the goal there?
We believe that the friendship category can be just as important as romantic. And so BFF, Bumble for Friends, is basically our standalone vehicle to build community. to find anyone you're looking for on a Tuesday, a Saturday, a Sunday, long term, to build that core network that makes your life fulfilling, because our life is basically just a group of relationships.
Finding love has always been the holy grail, but there's a new relationship crisis unfolding in the post-pandemic era: loneliness. Seems it's hard these days just to find friendship. People are turning to the internet, places like Discord, Reddit, and Bumble, to find new platonic companions. Because just one kind of love isn't enough for anyone. The best life is full of all kinds.
So how's #Mom CEO life?
Oh, it's pretty good. I feel like this whole career has just been one adventure to the next adventure, and we're just rolling with it.
Someone told me something that I'm trying to do, which is not to say I have to go to work, but I get to go to work.
Yes.
It's hard. I have to remind myself.
No, it's a
But
privilege.
I know it's a long way away, but what are you going to tell them about dating etiquette when they grow up?
I think learning how to treat each other starts at this age. How we speak to people in front of our children matters, and how we engage with our partner in front of our children matters.
Are apps going to exist then? Like what's the future of dating?
There'll be technology in some way, shape, or form. Love is going nowhere. Dating is going nowhere. And algorithms are going nowhere.
I'm hearing a lot of young people talk about Hinge. Do you worry about them as competition? Do you worry about the future market?
Competition is great. This is a industry where, on average, a customer will have two apps on their phone. And so it's really not a one app winner market.
What about the people who say, oh God, dating is just so transactional and it's because of the apps?
You've seen the memes of the couple in bed or on the couch. They're supposed to be connecting with each other, but they're both just in their phone. We're really in the business of trying to get you off of your phone, if you think about it.
I want to talk a little bit about the technology behind it, because algorithms seem to rule the world right now and everything around us, and can also dictate your fate on a dating app. How does Bumble decide who to show you?
I would actually argue that it supercharges fate. If you were to walk into a bar waiting for that perfect someone, you'd have to be there at the right moment, at the exact right time and place. Bumble, for the same cost of a couple drinks at the bar, gives you unlimited access to people in your area who might be on the other side of town or showed up at the bar 5 minutes after you left.
If Bumble's algorithms were perfect, everyone would be able to find a perfect match right away. You'd be out of business,
No.
right? Like, isn't the goal to let the algorithms play the dating game out a little bit and drag out the chase?
We have a really strong belief that churn is our greatest ally. So we feel that we have a tremendous runway. And if you told me we helped every single human on planet Earth find their special someone, I will gladly retire happily.
This begs the sort of big question about the business of dating in general. One would think that the needs of your users are at odds with the needs of your shareholders who don't want churn, who want that app engagement up and to the right. How do you reconcile that?
Our business model is not reliant on advertising, which is reliant on eyeballs, which is reliant on time spent in an app. We're a subscription model predominantly. We do have some advertising. But the better relevance in terms of the matches you get, the better experience you have, the more unlock opportunity there is to converting someone to being a payer. And so I do actually think everyone is aligned.
So I want to talk about the experience of being on these things, because like if I was on there, I'd be obsessing about my profile photo. If there was some magical new way to make that digital first impression, what would you change?
What's actually quite powerful about the profile is that we've learned so much more about the person in a split second than you would ever have the opportunity to in real life. You now, in the scroll of a finger, understand their political affiliation. Do they want children? Do they smoke? Where are they from? What do they like to do? People consider it to be slightly superficial, but in fact, meeting in real life can be quite superficial.
So here's the other thing is, are people presenting themselves authentically? Like, should we believe the guy who says he's 5'11" or the girl who says she always is up for adventure?
So I think that's been one of the big questions over the last decade of dating apps. How do we get people to really be who they are? If they say they are something, let's ensure they really are. Accountability is a core guiding principle to not just our business decisions, but the design decisions, the road mapping decisions. And so really finding other mechanisms to hold people accountable. We have features in the app where you can actually leave feedback or make a report on someone if they were misleading about who they said they were.
The other problem I hear from users is like dating apps are expensive and like everything is expensive right now. Do you really have to pay to find love?
When you go on that date with one person for multiple hours, that just costs you more than a couple $100. It costs you a couple hours. So that time becomes money as well. So when you actually think about the value of a dating app, that you could actually meet your spouse or partner, I think there's a real trade-off there.
I've heard people say, I'm done with dating apps. Like, I can't do this anymore. What do you say to someone who's been unlucky on the apps for a long time?
I say take a pause. We are not in the business of exploiting people's well-being to keep them on our product. Dating is also cyclical. Relationships end. Breakups happen. Divorces happen. I love these stories when I hear them, but very rarely do you hear of someone who spent their entire life with the same person. So when you actually take a longer-term horizon, you know, the re-engaged customer is a really important business, and AI is going to be a huge tailwind to this, a huge catalyst to helping people really both shine but also attract in terms of compatibility and better matching.
Chatbots. Are chatbots already in dating apps? Is that happening?
So chatbots are, you know, all the hype right now on the internet. Here's where I think a chatbot becomes powerful. The average US single, adult single, doesn't date because they don't know how to flirt or they're scared they don't know how. What if you could leverage the chatbot to instill confidence, to help someone feel really secure before they go and talk to a bunch of people that they don't know yet?
Is there anything about an AI-powered dating future that makes you worry? You know, that seems a little Black Mirror.
Always find your perfect match.
It really does work.
Another relationship.
Coach, is this a mistake?
I mean, you have to just engineer things to operate within certain guardrails and boundaries, and you have to steer things in the right direction. So is the world suggesting that the whole world replaces human connection with a chatbot? If that is truly the case, I promise you we have bigger issues than Bumble. I don't think you will ever replace the need for real love and human connection.
There are millions of success stories, but also a few horror stories. I'm thinking Tinder swindler, for example. Bad things happen everywhere, but that has to keep you up at night.
When bad things happen, we take a really hard look at it, a really self-aware, really honest look, and we say, what did we do to contribute to this? We might have been just the starting point, but what could we have done to detect that this would have happened? What could we have done to better predict that this was going to happen? How can we help hold the broader community accountable to prevent this in the future? We'll never be done with this.
I know this is something you think about a lot, which is how do we make the internet safer for women?
Sometimes I feel completely alone in this wild, wild tech world because, you know, I'm watching the debate around free speech run wild, and I'm watching people, you know, prop up hate online and champion it. We just take a really different framework, and I think our framework is so simple. No shirt, no shoes, no service is a real normal thing at every physical location in town. Why don't we say no hate, no abuse, no service? And that's what we've done. We have really strict terms and conditions. You cannot come on here and hate. You cannot come on here and abuse. And you cannot come on here and harass. We've passed a law. If you send an unsolicited lewd image, of course we'll block you. Of course we'll tell the person not to open it. But guess what? We went and made it illegal. Texas, California, other states, working on it at the federal level right now. And that's just the beginning.
You've been super active on the policy front. What are you fighting for?
There are no real guardrails that exist in legislature to keep women and girls safe on the internet. It's very behind. You cannot expose yourself in the streets. If you do, you're going to jail. Yet you can expose yourself on the digital streets at scale and nothing happens to you. I want to look back and say, we had an impact. We didn't just help connect millions and hopefully down the road billions of people and help them find their special someone. We actually cleaned up the broken system along the way. This is a great place for me to come after work and just watch the kids dig or do an art project and play and just disconnect.
So is this like your happy place down here?
This is definitely a happy place. This is where we kind of come down as a family. I don't know, there's something magical about horses and how grounding, right? It's the opposite of technology.
Totally. You know, Bumble was started in kind of the girl boss era where feminism was so mainstream and marketable. Is that era over?
It's been both devastating and beautiful to be a part of this entire chapter. I think even 10 or 15 years ago, it was impossible to imagine a woman founder in technology. So I've loved seeing the rise of that, but it's been devastating to see so many fall.
So does it feel to you like sometimes we're going backwards? Because it feels that way to me.
Yeah, I mean, you understand this better than most, right? With everything that you've done to expose this world that we've all been part of. It's sad. I hate to say that most of the women founders I've built alongside, they don't have their businesses anymore. Or they felt like they've had to run and hide. Or they felt like they were, quote unquote, taken down. Why are we taking down women? Why aren't we building people up? Why aren't we going forward? People make mistakes, but we should encourage a culture of getting back up on the horse and riding again.
Yeah. What's your advice to future founders today?
Be authentic. Build towards your true purpose and mission, and don't get distracted. And don't get, I keep using horse analogies and metaphors, but don't get thrown off because you're watching everyone else. Put your blinders on and just stay focused. Chart your own course because you'll get bucked off if you get distracted.
The having it all cliche, I wouldn't ever tell someone they can't have it all because first of all, it's discouraging, but it's not motivating. And why not strive for what you want? It's hard, but why not try? What do you think?
I think you can have it all, just not all by yourself. You have to be willing and open to building community. Community to help you build your company and scale your company. Community to help you take care of your family. To help you in your own life.
So when it comes to online dating, I don't know, are we in the middle of one of the most massive experiments in human history? And how are we gonna look back on this?
I will say that I think this moment right here, right now, at the intersection of this explosive consumer forward AI discussion is one of the more interesting moments in dating. I think we can help a lot of people across the world find their happiness a lot quicker and a lot safer and a lot better.